The market was alive with the scent of spices, wet earth, and desperation. Among the sea of bustling bodies, she moved like a shadow, quiet, unnoticed, fragile. Her name was Emma, barely 16, her delicate hands calloused from a childhood spent in struggle. Her eyes, dark and haunted, scanned the crowd, searching for a trace of mercy that never came. A man, tall and cruel, stepped into her path. His eyes were cold, calculating, and they lingered on her as if weighing her worth. Without a word, he took her by the wrist. She tried to pull back, but he was stronger. "You're mine now," he whispered. Emma's world had narrowed to the tip of fear, her freedom stolen in a heartbeat. She had been sold to a stranger, to a life she could not imagine. The streets, once familiar and alive, became a cage. The mansion was intimidating, towering over the city with icy grandeur. Emma was led inside, her small frame swallowed by the vastness of marble halls. Servants avoided her eyes, whispers chasing her down every corridor. Her master, the man who had purchased her, regarded her as one regards a fragile possession. He was harsh, demanding, and his presence was suffocating. Each day blurred into the next, a monotonous existence of fear and survival. But then, a new presence appeared. A man in a crisp suit, tall, confident, with eyes that pierced straight through the layers of her despair. This was Lucas, a CEO known for his ruthlessness in business and his untouchable persona in society. Yet, when he saw her, something stirred, a curiosity, a hunger, a strange, unexplainable pull. It was a rainy night when destiny intervened. The mansion's corridors were silent, save for the soft patter of rain against the windows. Emma had been locked in her room after a minor misstep, trembling when she heard footsteps approaching. The door creaked open, revealing Lucas, not the cruel owner, but the man whose presence could silence a room. His voice was low, barely above a whisper. "Why are you crying?" She shrank back, fear and suspicion mingling in her heart. I am nothing to you," she whispered. But he shook his head, his gaze softening for the first time. "No one is nothing," he said, reaching out, a hesitant gesture that somehow felt safe. And in that moment, Emma felt something she hadn't in years: hope. That night, circumstances forced them into proximity. Lucas had been visiting the mansion on business matters related to the man who owned Emma. A sudden power outage plunged the mansion into darkness. Panic spread among the servants, but Lucas found himself standing outside her room, drawn inexplicably to her trembling form. Their eyes met, the air charged with tension. Words failed them, replaced by the unspoken understanding of two souls recognizing each other. And when their hands brushed, a spark ignited, fragile yet undeniable. The night stretched endlessly. Fear, longing, and curiosity entwined, culminating in a single, fateful decision. Emma and Lucas spent the night together, not just in proximity, but in connection. For Lucas, it was intoxicating, a taste of innocence and strength he could not resist. For Emma, it was a fleeting glimpse of safety and warmth, a sanctuary she had never known. By dawn, reality intruded, bitter and unyielding. He could not remain in the mansion, and she could not escape her chains. Yet something had shifted, something neither could ignore. Morning brought sunlight and sorrow. Emma returned to her room, heart pounding, unsure if the night had been real or a dream. Lucas left the mansion with a restless tension gnawing at him. He could not stop thinking of her, the way she had looked at him, vulnerable yet defiant, the taste of her presence lingering in his mind. Days passed, but the memory of her clung to him. In boardrooms and meetings, he was distracted, haunted by the fragile girl who had entered his life for a single night. His power, his wealth, even his carefully constructed life could not erase the pull she had on him. And for Emma, every whispered word of the cruel man, every punishment, was tempered by the memory of that night, the only warmth she had ever felt. She began to believe, even if just for a moment, that someone could see her as more than property. Lucas could not let her go. He began quietly investigating the circumstances of her sale, the man who had purchased her, and the world that trapped her. He discovered truths that enraged him: the corruption, the greed, the exploitation of innocent lives. But more than that, he realized he was not chasing justice alone. He was chasing her, Emma. The girl whose spirit refused to break, even under the weight of cruelty. The girl whose presence had awakened something in him he had never felt: vulnerability, tenderness, and the desperate need to protect. Scene 7. The confrontation. One evening, under the cover of darkness, Lucas returned to the mansion. The rain mirrored the storm in his heart. He demanded to see her, to take her from the clutches of the man who had wronged her. The confrontation was tense. The cruel owner laughed, dismissing Lucas's threats with arrogance. But Lucas's intensity was unmatched. He offered a choice: freedom, safety, and a life far from the chains that had bound her. Emma's heart raced, disbelief and hope warring within her. Could this man, who had only known her for one night, truly offer a sanctuary she had never known? Scene 8. The escape. Under the cover of night, Lucas guided Emma out of the mansion. The city sprawled before them, a canvas of possibilities, yet shadows lingered, threatening to catch up. Every step was a risk, every moment a test of courage. Emma felt fear, exhilaration, and uncertainty all at once. She was leaving behind the only world she had known, painful, cruel, but familiar. Yet she clung to the warmth of Lucas's hand, the steadiness of his gaze, and a fragile hope for a better future. Scene 9. A new world. They arrived at a secluded villa far from the city's chaos. Lucas ensured she was safe, comfortable, and above all, free from harm. For the first time in her life, Emma experienced freedom, not just from chains, but from fear. Yet freedom came with a price. Emma knew the world outside was not always kind, that the scars of the past would not fade overnight. And Lucas, despite his wealth and power, understood the fragility of the heart he had awakened. Scene 10. The bittersweet truth. Days turned into weeks. Lucas's feelings deepened, an all-consuming mix of desire, tenderness, and unspoken love. Emma's heart, guarded for so long, began to open. They shared stolen moments, quiet breakfasts, walks in the rain, laughter mingled with tears. But reality intruded once more. The man who had sold her was not idle, and whispers of danger reached them. Emma realized that her past, though temporarily escaped, could resurface at any moment. She could not ask Lucas to bear that risk. One night, under the soft glow of moonlight, she made a choice. She kissed him, long and lingering, a promise and a goodbye. "I need to face my past," she whispered, tears glistening. "I can't let you suffer because of me." Lucas's heart shattered, but he understood. Love, he realized, was not always possession. It was letting go when it was the only way to protect the one you cared for. Scene 11. The separation. Emma left before dawn. Lucas found only a note, simple yet full of emotion. "I will never forget you. Thank you for showing me kindness I never knew existed. Live well, and know that a part of my heart will always be yours." Lucas clutched the note, the memory of her scent, her warmth, and the night they shared burning into his soul. He returned to his world of boardrooms and power, forever changed, haunted by a love he could not claim. Scene 12. Years later. Time passed. The city moved on, but the memory of that night lingered like a shadow. Lucas continued his empire, his decisions subtly influenced by a girl who had touched him profoundly. He saved others from cruelty, quietly, perhaps in her honor. And Emma. She built a life of her own, strong and independent, carrying the lessons of pain and love intertwined. She never forgot the man who had risked everything for her, who had seen her as more than a commodity. One evening, she walked through the marketplace, older, wiser, and free. Her eyes caught a familiar figure across the street: Lucas. Their gazes met, a silent acknowledgement of what had been, what was lost, and what had shaped them both. No words were needed. Their hearts recognized each other, bittersweet and eternal. And as they parted once more, the memory of that night, the night that changed everything, lingered like a flame, warm and unextinguished.